Hey everyone, welcome to episode 25 of Blueprint. My name is Bobby Machado, CEO of Signa Marketing. If this is the first time you're checking out the show, basically this is just a fun Q&A style show in which I answer any and all digital marketing questions on how to market your business online. So if you're a small business owner or marketing manager or even just someone getting into the industry and you have a very specific question that you wish to have answered, feel free to submit them through any of our social media channels. So that you would just find us at Signa Marketing everywhere. And we're always looking at those questions and answering them on the following episode. So today we have a very awesome lineup of questions here, and we will go ahead and get started with the first question.
In Google Ads search campaigns, how often do you adjust bids at the device level?
So inside Google Ads, when you are running a paid search campaign or even display campaign in that sense, when it comes to adjusting bids at a device level, it comes down to a couple different factors. So I'll give you some scenarios. One scenario would be, I'll back up. First, always segment down, whether it's at the campaign level, ad group level, or sometimes even the keyword level, segment by device, because that's where you can get visibility in terms of where the budget's going. Is it leaning more towards mobile devices or is it being spent more towards desktop? And so when it comes to making an adjustment, it would be, of course, for a reason, not just for the heck of it. So one of the main reasons would be conversion. So say, for example, you segment by device and you start to see that a specific keyword or specific ad group, which would probably be more common, you see a specific ad group converting really well, but when you segment by device, you notice that it's mobile devices that are actually causing all the conversions and not on desktop. And so in that case, you could decide to just lean all most of your budget towards a mobile device because that's where you're seeing success, and you can kind of shave off some budget away from desktop if you like, just to place it more towards mobile. Now, you don't always have to do that because you may say, hey, you know what, I want to make sure I still have exposure on desktop. So, even though I'm not getting conversions, I'm still getting exposure and I'm still, getting people to land on my landing page or my website, and I'm still remarketing them and stuff like that. So there's instances where you don't want to just completely kill something off, but it just comes down to efficiency and your goals. So if you say, hey, I'm just entirely focused only on lead gen and like that's it, and you're, which I wouldn't recommend, but if that's your goal, then you could say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I just want to bid super heavy on mobile devices. I'm going to, if anything, reduce my bid on desktop and on tablet and just focus on mobile, just because that's where I'm seeing the conversions. You could do that. Another case is where you see that the cost per click is super high for a specific device, sometimes mostly mobile. But then you see that desktop is converting. So you're like, man, there's a bunch of budget being used on mobile and it's not converting because it's costing me more and it's costing me more. But on desktop, it's not as bad in terms of cost and it's actually converting. So in that case, you'd want to make a mobile bid adjustment or a device bid adjustment to cater budget more towards desktop and not as much towards mobile. So those are some scenarios of when to make those adjustments from a device level. But yeah, I would definitely always make sure that you're segmenting by device and at least looking at that visibility, because the last thing you want to do is be adjusting bids at an ad group level and have no idea where that money is actually going, because a lot of times you'll find more opportunity there.
I keep getting my call ad extension in Google Ads disapproved. What the heck is going on?
All right, so this could be, it's a pain in the butt sometimes, especially if that happens and you're like, what the heck, why does my call ad extension continue to get disapproved? If you're using a platform such as CallRail or call tracking metrics or anything like that, a lot of times you'll be using a phone number, of course, in your call ad extension, but what happens is the Google system is always going to check the landing page to make sure that number actually exists on your landing page. If it doesn't match, then most times they'll disapprove the ad extension. So in that case, you make sure just to really look at the documentation on CallRail on how to set up a Google Ads call extension for a phone number for tracking specifically. It has to be a number specifically for an ad extension. It cannot be a dynamic one where it's using the script to swap out phone numbers. The ad extension, when you're using in Google and even on Bing and stuff like that, but specifically in this question, Google, you want to make sure that you have set that up the correct way per the platform. So I know that with CallRail, it's definitely very common sometimes to see that disapproved and people wonder why, but it's just mostly because they set up the phone number incorrectly in CallRail. So it's not on the Google side, it's actually on the phone tracking side where you just want to make sure you configure the phone number the right way. So each platform is very different. CallRail, of course, is very common. Call tracking metrics is pretty common too, but make sure that you just follow the steps per each platform, whether it's CallRail or call tracking metrics. That way, I rest assured you'll actually have an approved call extension and it won't get disapproved in the future.
How often should I be going back and updating past blog post content if it's not entirely relevant anymore?
So this is a great question. Honestly, it comes down to resources because there shouldn't be anything holding you back from doing that other than time, money, or resources, or all three. So there's, just to answer that really, really quickly, the moment you see something irrelevant is the time to update it, of course. There's really no reason why not to, unless you're constricted by resources. And so if you are constricted by resources, just look at what's priority. What are the articles or blog posts that have always been ranking really well and are really powerful, but they are outdated and maybe they're going to start, at that point, maybe they're not providing as much value as they used to. You want to hold on to the traffic that you do have from that article or that blog post. So that I would start with those types of articles as far as priority, seeing which ones are the heavy hitters, making sure that those are updated sooner than later, and then just chipping away. But historical optimization, that's something that you can attain a lot of traffic over time, a lot of brand new traffic, just making sure that you're ranking for all sorts of different keyword variations within a specific theme, whatever the blog post topic is about. But yeah, I would say the moment that you can, definitely execute that. You will enjoy the results from it for sure.
Is there a way to overpost on LinkedIn? I am posting at least once a day, but feel that it might be too much.
In terms of overposting, I don't believe so. I mean, if you're doing even 2-3 times a day and it's actual valuable content, then and it's not, it's valuable content in the sense that you're providing something to someone or to everyone in your audience, not that you're going in for the ask or anything like that, or promoting something and asking for something. So yeah, I would say don't worry about that, to be honest. Even if it's 2-3 times a day, do it. And this is the other thing too, is there's no reason to think about this too in depth. Like there's really no point. It's just a post. I mean, it's content you put out. If it didn't get received the right way, you have another at bat in that sense. And if you didn't like it, or if you saw that you're like, hey, you know what, I just don't want to have it up, just delete it. Do it again. Like strategize again. It's not, just don't overthink it. It's it's kind of a waste of time. So with this question, if you're doing 3 times a day, even up to, that's fine. To do 1 or 2 times, you're absolutely in the safe ground. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that at all.
What is one impactful way to grow your podcast organically?
One impactful way that's super organic would actually just to be doing guest appearances on other podcasts. That's something that I'm super fond of. It's awesome because it's great digital PR for yourself. You get a ton of practice doing it, speaking to different personality types and different hosts and stuff like that. You even get ideas for your own show if you're doing it. Like obviously you're doing it because you're promoting your show, but there's just too many benefits from doing as far as being a guest on other people's podcasts. So I would say that is probably one of the best strategies that I'm super fond of for building your podcast organically, is doing guest appearances, etc. And again, there's just too many benefits from it. I mean, the repetition, you're doing it over and over again. You hone in, even what you say or how you come off and stuff like that too. And then everyone's getting, obviously the host, they're getting great content in that sense too. and you're getting your podcast out there. So there's too many benefits to that. So if I have to rate one of the best strategies that I'm really fond of, it's definitely making sure that you are putting yourself out there and being a guest on other people's relevant podcast shows. It's always going to prove positive for you. There's like literally no downside to it.
What is top funnel traffic considered? I ask because I keep hearing about tofu, mofu, and bofu.
That's a very great question, and if you're getting into that, that's great, because at least you're starting to more so understand the customer journey and not get away from the mentality of just a straight exchange and transaction online from someone that doesn't know anything about you type of deal. So top funnel traffic is considered traffic that basically, imagine you have a funnel, of course. Top funnel traffic is just people that have now discovered who you are. That could be through a piece of content, through Google search. It could be a blog post that you shared on social media. It could be a video that they found on YouTube, like this one. It's top funnel traffic. And so when they discover you, that's your chance to it's almost kind of like just a handshake. It's like, hey, nice to meet you. And then there's literally nothing after that. There's no call to action in terms of buy this or nothing like that. There could be call to actions of like, hey, check out this other piece of content that you may like, that may benefit you. That's different. That's great because you're starting to nurture from there. But that's top funnel traffic. Top funnel traffic means really getting from your target audience, but in a way where there's no ask or anything like that. They're just discovering you naturally. At that point, then that's when you go into what you're referring to as far as MOFU and BOFU, which stands for middle funnel and then bottom funnel activities. And so say, for example, in the scenario that you have top funnel activities, whether you're doing YouTube, blog posting, social media, etc., and they find you, then if they land on your website, you could be running a remarketing campaign where then you are able to target people that have landed on your website or on your landing page, or even engaged on any of your social media channels like Facebook and Instagram, and retarget with them with another piece of content that may be of interest to them. It could be even another blog post, or it could even be more of like a lead magnet where they get something free in exchange for their email address. And so you could do something like that as a middle funnel activity. Now, for the people that do opt in and say, for example, you are running a remarketing campaign and it's a lead magnet, and say it's like a free checklist for XYZ, and they download it because it's going to benefit them and they're going to use it. And so they enter the email address to get it. And at that point, now they're in a different part of the customer journey. Now we've seen that they are engaged even further with our brand. And depending on what type of content they are consuming within our brand, in the sense whether it's on the site or lead magnets, we could propose some type of solution, because we've actually been able to kind of gather a little bit more data and touch points on what their pain points may be. And so that's where we can start to offer a solution, whether it's a product or a service or anything like that, and go in for the ask. But we're only asking just because their touch points have shown that they are interested and they most likely do have this pain point that we could provide a solution for. So that, in a nutshell, that's very quick. I mean, there's a lot that goes into all the different channels in terms of top funnel all the way to bottom funnel. But that's really just to clarify what top funnel means and how it has to do with middle funnel and bottom funnel activities. All right, everyone, that wraps up episode 25 of Blueprint. As always, if you do have questions, make sure to submit them, whether it's here on YouTube or any of our social media channels at Signa Marketing. I'm always happy to answer any of your questions. So again, if you're a small business owner, marketing manager, or even just someone getting into the industry, ask away and you shall receive answers. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you on the next episode, on episode 26. And until that, we will see you next time.